Well, PPS New Generation Retirement Fund says only 6% of South Africans are financially independent when they retire. So to look at the implications of the proposed retirement fund's default regulations, we're joined by the Principal Officer for the fund, Teboho Tlooko. Thank you so much, Teboho, for your time today. Why are these regulations so important? Before we get to the reasons why 6% of South Africans actually tend to retire comfortably.
Well, Siki, currently we find that there's a gap in the market. You have people that retire and have no access to any sort of counseling, any sort of information, or doing even the career. They tend to withdraw from their funds when they change jobs.
Yeah.
So measures were necessary to be introduced at a point to be able to make sure that members are informed and are clear about what the impact of withdrawing early enough is.
That 6% figure, though, is quite scary.
And it's been that number for a very long time, unfortunately.
Is that because people don't have the information, so the counseling that you're talking about, or simply that they don't have the funds to actually retire?
It's a combination of both. Having the information, I think, enlightens members to be able to understand the need to contribute more to their retirement funds. That way they gain the advantage of being able to have the interest and growth that grows compoundly over a number of years while they are employed.
So what do the regulations then say about that, particularly the counseling that people must get?
All right. So we have counseling that is necessary at different parts of a member's existence as a fund member. During their career, when they change jobs, it is encouraged that they preserve within the fund they're in.
Yes.
All right. That would be the first measure from the default regulations. The second would be a default investment portfolio, of which encourages members to, well, if members are not clear, we're speaking about your everyday lay person who does not have access to that sort of information to understand where to invest their money during their career. The fund or the board of the fund would then be entitled to move that money and that investment into a default investment portfolio to safeguard the investments during their career.
But I imagine that the members would know about the default option that would be in place for them.
If they are informed. And that's one of the measures which have been introduced through these default regulations, the obligation on retirement funds and boards particularly, who bear the ultimate responsibility to communicate these measures more clearly to members for them to understand.
Let's talk about the dangers of that withdrawal, because I think a lot of people do it. We are in really dire straits at the moment with employment. People are not necessarily moving jobs, they're being retrenched, they are being fired and so on. Companies are being liquidated. So in a situation like that, who would be responsible for communicating with those members about the dangers of withdrawal?
Look, boards of retirement funds bear the ultimate responsibility, as I've stated before. Through the HR, let's say it's an occupational fund, you have an HR person who sits there and is able to have a one-on-one with members of a fund. It's important that it is made clear that if you withdraw, there are tax implications. 1. 2, you lose out on the interest and growth that could have compound interest that would have grown throughout your career. So you withdraw and you get to a point of retirement where you have next to nothing. So it's a balancing act. What do you consider more important? You withdraw earlier and you're able to live a few months, maybe a year, or that at retirement you're able to have a nest egg that you can rely on to keep you for the rest of your life.
What are the implications if one decides to transfer their assets? So they're not withdrawing, they're just transferring to maybe another fund. Are there particular implications in that case?
Portability is one of the measures to be introduced by the default regulations to take effect on the 1st of March 2019. Okay. We would like to have members stay within the fund that way, or transfer, and not have to feel the impact of the tax implications. The moment you withdraw, of course, from a provident fund or a pension fund, there is a tax implication, which means then you'll be paying tax on the benefits. Transferring avoids all of that. You safeguard that and you have the benefit of the compound interest again.
This obviously all goes under the treating customers fairly principle and the move towards the Twin Peaks legislation in the country to ensure that all sides of the financial services table are actually taken care of. How do you see this changing the nature of the way that retirement funds deal with their customers going forward?
In essence, it's about a shift for both the manner in which funds have been dealing with their members and to arise an awakening, to bring an awakening to members to understand what contributing more to a retirement fund has as an impact, again, on the compound interest that you gain over a period of years. That is exactly it. This is the shift to understand that. Currently, members believe in a provident fund. If I change jobs, then I can just withdraw again. It brings us to the circular problem that we're encountering currently.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Principal Officer for the PPS New Generation Retirement Fund, Teboho Tlooko.